Alright, so now we've got to put the set screw in, and I decided that I'd like the set screw to come into the side. That way, if I'm doing anything in the press, it doesn't interfere in any way. I know it'll be completely out of the way if I mount it on the side. So, I've just basically just marked a generic spot there. Nothing great, no measurements. And I'm just going to take my little punch and get a starter. Oops, excuse me. Get a starter divot in there. Then I'm going to chuck it up, get my drill. The drill is going to be larger than this screw because I'm going to weld a nut on there, and that way this can pass through. Okay, so I've got everything chucked up. Start the drill, and let's just drill this hole for the set screw. And that's it. So as you can see here, this easily goes through. So now I'm going to take that nut, weld it right there, and then I'll have my set screw. Okay, so once again I'm going to take my little magnet, put it in here. I'm going to mount it on the inside this time, like that. Drop this in place. Actually, it might be better on the outside. Mount it right there, and you can see it's holding the nut in place. And then I'm just going to give it a little tack and go from there. So that should do it right there. So I will tack it in place. All right. So here we go. Just going to give this a quick tack. That didn't work out too well. The magnet and the nut moved. Okay, round two. What you can see I did here is I got rid of the magnet. I'm using a pair of vice grips to hold the nut in place. And so now I'm going to tack it. Turn the wire speed down a little bit. One tack. Should be able to move this. Got the second tack in place. Let it cool, and then we're going to weld it to the press. Alright, so we got everything in place. We're ready to put some weld on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit it right there with a little weld. Alright, ran out of shielding gas. Okay, so let's take this apart and see what we got. First of all, you can see here, we've got it all tacked up right there, tacked up on that side. So now it's just a matter of letting that cool, putting the set screw in, and then we'll give it a shot, see how it bends. Alright, so here's what we got. I filed this groove out a little bit because there was some weld in there. I wanted to make a nice bend. That's going to go there. This is going to go here. You see the two mating surfaces. They're pretty even. And so we're going to squeeze our metal in between. I'm going to pull this up here, tighten the set screw, and now when you jack, these two things ought to be able to press some metal. And let's just get it close. All right, simple test. This is a real thin piece of sheet metal. It's actually from a disk drive I tore apart. I saved it just in case I need to make any brackets. But let's just see how this thing does. So we'll put it in the press and manually press it down. You can tell when it's at the bottom. Feels nice and tight. We will relieve the pressure. And let's see what kind of angle we got here. There we go. Pretty nice. So let's fold it over. Alright, so much for the nice angle. I flattened it out. I'm going to put it in there again, and we'll just see how this one works. Let me turn this off for a second. It's going to take a lot of pump. Okay, so now we got that in there. We pumped it up, and we're going to go down, and we're going to bend it. And this 20-ton press really, it doesn't flinch when it comes to bending, pressing. I used to have a 12-ton, but no comparison. Another modification I did was I welded these two pieces together. There's no need to ever have separate pieces. There we go. And you can see, did a great job. So that's it for this video, and subscribe. Alright, so on to my next project. I've got a lot of welding rod with this TIG welder, and I need a place to put it. So, I want to put it right on the back of my cart. I'd like to put them right here. And so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to make some brackets to go around here and around the bottom to hold this in place. And I'm going to use some 1-inch strap steel. I'm going to use my new press plates, and I'm going to press some rectangles. And then I'm going to weld them together, and I'm going to weld them to the cart. Probably weld them high, and then down here low. So that's the plan for the next project. Okay, so welding rod, about 5 inches for all of this. These are about 3. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make it 6 inches this way, and 3 inches ought to do it, 3 by 6. So that's what I need. I need 2 brackets, 3 by 6, and then I just need to weld them there. All right, so in order to lay this out, we need 3 inches. So we're going to make a mark at 3 inches. That's right here. And what I like to do is I'm going to use my square and get a mark at 3 inches. Then we're going to have another mark at 6 inches. So 3 plus 6 is 9. Put a mark there. 9 plus 3 is 12. We're going to put a mark right here. And then 12 plus 3 is 18. Or excuse me, 12 plus 6 is 18. So we're going to put a mark at 18. And once again, we are going to mark each of these straight across. Now remember, these are bend marks. So there's going to be a little extra material required to make that bend. And also, since it's not critical, we've kind of over measured. 3 by 6 is larger than what we need. We're going to stick to this measurement here, 3636. So I'm going to take this to the bandsaw, I'm going to cut it, and then we'll start bending. Alright, now comes the interesting part. So we've cut 2 of these pieces of steel, and we've marked them both. And now it's time to bend them. So if you bend this one first, it comes down like that and leaves you with a 90. That one's going to be hard to bend. So we're going to start in the middle. See how that works out. Set this in the press. In order to do that, we got to back off the pump a little bit. Not a lot, because we don't want to end up doing extra work just pumping this thing up. So, there we go. Bring this over, get it right about into the middle. Now we're going to have time to adjust it because this is the old-fashioned manual pump. So right about there looks good. And we want to get this perpendicular right here, so that we don't bend it crooked. So let's give this a shot. And you can see that it bent it with ease. So we've got one down and a couple more to go. It's going to be a little bit easier because this one's a 3-inch. The last one's probably going to give us some issues because it's such a long piece. Bending it may be a problem. What I think I might do is I may end up having to start it on this and just finishing it on the vise with a little bit of a hammer. So let's go right about there, and like I said, once you get in there you want it perpendicular, and then we're just gonna bend it. So you can see what's happening because this piece is preventing it from bending. You're ending up with a little bit of a curve, but we'll fix that in a second. So let's relieve the pressure and straighten it out. All right, so you can see in bending the last 90, I end up with that. That's nothing. I can straighten that with a hammer. But we're going to have another issue when we bend this one. So what I'm going to do is, watch how easily this metal bends. It's basically low carbon steel. And I'm not exactly Superman, but it bends pretty easily. Last thing I have to do is bend this last one. That one's going to be a little bit of an issue, but I can go over to the edge here and I should be able to bend it from there. And then I'll just take a hammer and straighten all of this out. So let's again get it lined up. Make sure that's a 90, perpendicular. There we go. And now we're going to end up right here, but this should flex. So we should be able to get a nice 90 in this one. Like I said, we're going to be able to hammer by hand the shape and get it straightened out that way. So let's loosen this a little bit. The problem is the bottom may need to come over a little. And let's try it again. See if we get that crisp 90-degree bend there. Okay, I see exactly what's happening. So this piece of angle iron isn't exactly strong enough. The 20 ton is already bending it, but that's okay. It'll do what I want. Then I'm going to end up using solid steel next time.